Welcome to the Bible Reader Companion. We're continuing our studies this week in 1 Thessalonians chapters 4 and 5. And today we're going to look at some verses in the latter part of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. We're going to begin in verse 12. Paul says, "And we urge you, brethren, to recognize those who labor among you, and are over you in the Lord, and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake. Be at peace among yourselves. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn those who are unruly, comfort the faint-hearted, uphold the weak, be patient with all." It's interesting as we read these verses to hear what Paul says about who to be thankful for. He says, be thankful for those, notice what he says, who labor among you, who are over you, but notice the next phrase, and admonish you and esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake. You know, we all like to pat on the back, don't we? We always like when somebody comes along and says, "Hey, great job, appreciate what you're doing." But do we appreciate the people who come along and say, "You know, you got a problem, and it's a serious problem, and you need to do something to change that, or it could impact you physically, spiritually, emotionally, but most importantly, spiritually." Most of us don't like that, do we? We don't like being told, you need to change something. Something's not quite right. But what Paul says is, be thankful for those people. Encourage them. Esteem them for the work that they do. Because you want to know what? That's one of the hardest things to do. It's easy to walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, appreciate what you're doing. Great job. Love you. Keep it up." It's really, really hard to sit down with somebody and say, "I'm concerned. You need to change. Something needs to be different." It's interesting because in the very next verses, Paul encourages us to do those very things. He says, "We exhort you, brethren, to warn those who are unruly. Uphold the weak." It's easy to maybe comfort the faint-hearted. Hey, they're struggling, but let's go give them some words of encouragement. But what about those who are unruly? What about those who continually struggle and who are weak and they can't seem to stand up on their own? Are we there for them? Do we encourage them? Are we thankful for them? Or do we do what a lot of people do and we blame them for our problems? It's not what Paul says we're to do. Paul says, be thankful for those people who are willing to help you try to get back on the straight and narrow. Those people who are willing to encourage you, both in good and to admonish you from doing bad. As we go into the weekend, think about these things, and we encourage you to come back and study with us again next week.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook for more content like this.